Us as blacks, we need to ban this Jeffrey Dahmer movie. This is some sick what he did to our race. This is some sick.
You're a Dahmer.
Oh, Mr. Tyrone. I just gotta get freaky for you because you love the hoes.
I don't care if they don't like me. I came here to stunt. Yeah. I don't care if they don't.
What's good, everybody? If you're a first time viewer of my content or this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Today we are discussing Mr. Boosie as he is going off about the Netflix trend, or the new #1 Netflix show in the world right now, Jeffrey Dahmer, and dealing with Monster. And we're going to deal with a little bit of that. And if you don't mind, I want to deal with this from a little bit of an occultic perspective. So a little bit of a disclaimer for newcomers, new viewers, or people who may not particularly know where I stand on certain things. I need you to just lay aside your emotions. This might be a very emotional topic. This might be a bit sensitive, but I need you to lay aside that and really think on this. I need you to have this open mind with me as we talk about my particular hypothesis on this show. I'm only halfway through the show, but I have seen so many things in the show and so much symbolism halfway through the show that I'm able to recognize kind of what the message and portrayal in this show is. So recently, Boosie, he made a tweet, right? I don't know if he made the tweet first or if he came up with the video first, but I know he made the tweet and then I saw the video. The tweet says, "As black people, we should boycott the Jeffrey Dahmer movie. What he did to our black kids is sick. Hashtag Netflix, take this down. It's sick." So, there was some controversy with what Boosie said. A lot of people called out his hypocrisy because he has made music for all of his career based upon, black on black crime, killing black people, all this type of stuff, you name it. For me, I don't think he has a say on who should post or who should, create this production of Jeffrey Dahmer, because of all people, he might be doing a Dahmer. He willingly confessed on, I think it was an Instagram live, on how he gave his children a birthday surprise and had these women give them oral. If you look at the story of what is going on in the Jeffrey Dahmer show, from 1 to 5, you begin to see the issue with him. You begin to see his upbringing. You begin to see his parents arguing. You begin to see how he was treated at school. He stood out. You begin to see the way that his environment influenced who he truly was. I know people are looking at this very emotionally, but you can't look at something like this from an emotional perspective. A lot of black people, Boosie, when Boosie posted this tweet and when Boosie posted the video, whether you like it or not, he's a pawn, he's a puppet, and is used to invoke emotion out of black people with this. And that's why I feel like there's some type of message here. There's a message that needs to be analyzed. Now, like I said, put your emotions aside. This is not to say that we should sympathize with a serial killer. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to feel bad for Jeffrey Dahmer or to sympathize with Jeffrey Dahmer. And if you want to, that's on you. I'm not willing to do that. But I'm looking at this from a occult and a neutral perspective, that if we're looking at the way that he was brought up, and you're looking at the way that this is being produced, because what you're seeing on film is mostly inspired by what we know to be true about Jeffrey Dahmer. We can't really say what is on screen is what 100% happened, but we can look at this and reflect. And I truly believe that within anything that we watch, we always want to try and relate to the film. There is always going to be something on screen that's going to reflect you. And I truly believe that what you're seeing in Dahmer is reflecting your dark side. I made a post about this where Dahmer has yellow eyes, right? And the yellow eyes signify many things, for one. But I'm a big Star Wars fan. And when a person of the dark side has yellow eyes, he loses himself in his anger. He loses himself in the dark forces of the dark side. I think it's reflecting that dark side. I think it's reflecting the many things that some of us were brought up in, being the one that stood out in high school, or having issues at home, or not having a good relationship with our parents. These things are things that we need to deal with in our shadow work. Jeffrey Dahmer never got the help that he needed. If you even watch the show, his father asked, did you ever get a psychologist? Do you ever get somebody to help and talk with you? And Jeffrey was like, no, I just kind of just sat there in my thoughts and so on and so forth. Even in that moment, in that point, he never went through the work that he needed to go through in order to become a better person. That's why he became worse and worse and worse. So I think it's to reflect to us that even though we could never on any scale try to be a Dahmer, right? In a way, Dahmer is no longer a person. Dahmer is a entity. Dahmer is anybody in this world that might stand out, that is just one knock away from stepping over to becoming a Dahmer. It may not go to the extent of eating people and dissecting them and dismembering them, but it's just one step closer to blacking out. I remember I used to hear, friends of mine that would get into fights, or they would lose it in their anger and their fear, and they'll talk about how they black out. Dahmer talks about, and if you look in the interview, if you look in the show, there'll be times where he blacked out. There was a time he beat one of the people that he slept with to death. Slept right beside them, don't remember anything that happened. I've heard black people tell me that they have blacked out. They have beat somebody's ass to a pulp. Blacked out. I think the reason why some people are outraged by this series is that this series is putting a mirror in front of you that you do not want to go down. It's a rabbit hole that you just refuse to go down. Because, Halloween is coming up, and I see all these people dress up: Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, Pennywise, the Joker. We love to dress up as these deviant characters because as long as it's fictional, we don't think nothing of it. Oh, I love American Horror Story. I had a woman tell me to off myself, right? I had a woman tell me to off myself on her story. But if you go on her story, I took a screenshot of it. She posted the American Horror Story that's based off of true events by killers. So I don't understand. You love to see gritty stuff. You love to see mass murderers as long as it's fictional characters. You love to dress like them. You love to act deviant. All this other type of stuff, right? But as long as it's in the basis of fiction, you're okay with it. But it only takes one knock away. It only takes for you to snap, for you to become a Dahmer. Why? You don't have a problem with a little boy out here dressing up like Michael Myers. You think it's cute. If there's anything I learned in church, and I'm not a religious person, you can see Baphomet right behind me. If there's one thing that I learned is that when you dress up as somebody, you are channeling their energy. So a lot of y'all are dressing up Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Pennywise. You're dressing up as mass murderers. You are channeling the energies of mass murderers. So when somebody asks me what is the difference, how are you going to compare fictional characters to real people? They're one and the same. They come from the same source. They come from the same energy. The only difference is you're romanticizing it. I think that this show Dahmer is reflecting the masses in terms of who they truly are, being zombies. And what do zombies do? If you ever watched The Walking Dead, what do zombies do? I think it's a reflection that people just do not want to look at. People just do not want to accept that they possibly might have a relation to Dahmer. Like I said, I'm gonna keep saying that, not to the extent of biting, eating people and drinking their blood and all this type of stuff. And we won't even get to the basis of how Jeffrey Dahmer somewhere down the line shares blood relation to kings that were, there's a whole bloodline with the elites and so on and so forth. We can deal with that another time for another day. But when you're dealing with the persona, because now Jeffrey Dahmer is more than just a person in history. We're getting into the depths of energy now. Every time you say his name, Every time that you speak of him, now that he's created a film, this man is immortal. He's more than just a person now. He is a entity. And whether you say, okay, he's an entity that can influence. I mean, we could say the same thing for the boogeyman at this point. But like I said, I'm halfway through the show. When I get to the end of the show, I might just do a whole, get together and just conclude everything concerning the basis of the Jeffrey Dahmer show. I think it's also very crucial that it mentions the monster. And I think it's deeper than just Jeffrey Dahmer being a monster, but I think it's that beast that's within us. Even when you're dealing with what's on screen, it could be seen metaphorically. It could be seen mentally or spiritually when it concerns consuming the flesh and so on and so forth. All these things. And like I said, this is coming from like a cult-like perspective. So like I said, we can deal with that for another time, for another day. I want to spook you. But I think a lot of people share more relation to Dahmer than what they realize. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this isn't to sympathize with Dahmer, but for you to look in the mirror, for you to do some shadow work, for you to reflect upon who you truly are. I think it's deeper than just doing a story on Jeffrey Dahmer. With every movie, with every show that you will watch, there's always going to be a message. And for us who are of the few, the chosen, right? For those who look with different eyes, we have to look at things from different perspectives. We can't look at things emotionally, and we can't try to look at things per se rationally. We have to look at things from an outside perspective, from different angles. I mean, tell me, where's the boundary between you and Dahmer? What makes you a Dahmer? Because you may not go to the extent of cutting people's heads off and placing them in jars and dismembering their bodies and beating people half to death. But what invokes the monster? What invokes the monster? What made this woman on her story tell me to off myself? What makes you a menace to society? What makes you a savage? These words that we like to play on. Yeah, you may not have offed 17 bodies, and dismembered them, but how many people have you wronged in your life? How many people have you misled and manipulated in your life? Yeah, you may not have drugged anybody, but how many people have you, spiritually and emotionally killed? How many people have you done wrong out here? Like let's truly be honest. Let's have this conversation. You may not have gone to the extent of taking somebody off this world, but have you taken them off mentally? Have you taken them off emotionally? Have you took them off their own journey when you invited yourself into their life? Listen, you might be a good person, but do you hate your brother and sisters? Do you hate people out here? Have you inflicted hate upon other people? You may not have killed anybody, but have you killed anybody spiritually, mentally, emotionally? Have you invaded their whole spiritual journey, their whole spiritual process? Now they out here just being dysfunctional because of you. Think about it. Are you any different than Dahmer? Are you a Dahmer yourself? There's one episode, and I think it's one of my favorite episodes, called Doing a Dahmer. And I think a lot of people are doing a Dahmer. I think this is showing a mirror that a lot of people don't want to look at. I think people are seeing a reflection that they do not like. But that's all I gotta say concerning the whole matters at hand. Let me know how you personally feel about this in the comment section below. Am I tripping? Am I going crazy? Am I cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? How do you personally feel about the Jeffrey Dahmer show that's going on right now? Do you personally like it? Do you let's talk about it cinematically even as well, because I'm a film major. I'm a film critic personally. So, we can deal with this from a film critic perspective. We can deal with this in terms of the story. We can deal with it from an entity, occultic, metaphysical, mystical perspective, all different bases, right? But do not, listen, let's have a conversation about this respectfully in the comment section below, all right? So make sure you like the video, because it's going to help out with the algorithm, gets the video out to even more people. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so you get my next video, and share this video with other people. Until next time, I'm Tyrone, and I am out.
Long as I got good, black women
in the squad. I got all